So ultimately, the Corvette has cost me actually quite a bit of money in the grand scheme of things. At least when I look at the figure, you know, I realize how much I've actually spent on the car. Some of the biggest questions a person might have when they're looking to purchase a car is just how much is the car going to cost me over its lifetime? How much am I going to spend in maintenance? How much gas am I going to need to purchase each day? Or each day, wow, you're spending a lot in gas if you're purchasing gas every day. How much gas am I going to need to purchase each month? And how much depreciation am I going to lose by the time I am finished with the car's life? And I think those are all fair questions, because the truth is we know there are quite a few notorious brands out there that are incredibly expensive to maintain. So just how much did the C5 Corvette cost me over the last year?
So last year I predicted that my second year of ownership would be under $4,500. If you remember, I spent a total of $5,800 in 2018, just around there. So let's pull up my Fuelio app and take a look at this year's costs. Wow, I definitely expected less, but is it really $2,000?
So at first glance, that might seem unlikely. But the truth is if we compare numbers from last year, I spent $1,000 less automatically because I didn't purchase tires this year. In addition, I've driven about 3,800 miles less. I almost said 38,000. I've driven about 3,800 miles less, only logging about 12,200 miles in the past year.
To me, this further makes sense, as the first year I was always making excuses to get in my Corvette and drive somewhere. Now, not that I'm not doing that now, but I do it much less often. Plus, I've cut 3 miles out of my commute, which doesn't seem like a lot when I say it out loud, but when you consider a whole year's worth of driving, that's close to 1,500 miles. So yeah, it does actually make sense that this year cost me less. Let's break up the totals. Gas cost me around $1,700, which is not bad considering that works out to $2.80 a gallon. About 20 cents less than 2018. My fuel consumption remains about the same. We're hovering right around 21 miles per gallon. Again, I typically fill up in New Jersey because it does save me 50 cents over Philly's prices. I've also made use of gas rewards from my local grocery store, which saved me about $120 over the year. I generally make a conscious effort to not only fill up with premium gasoline, but use top-tier branded stations.
Service ended up costing me about $300, which is not very expensive, but it does include 2 oil changes. I do take my car to a Chevrolet dealership, and it also includes a state inspection from a local auto shop.
Maintenance was $150. As I mentioned, I didn't buy tires this past year, and until after the start of the new year, I really wasn't experiencing any problems. So the only thing I spent money on was the front spoiler. As a side note, I didn't count the cost of supplies I bought to repair the EBCM, but the total would be around $100 in case you are wondering. I figure many of those things will get used for other car or house projects in the future, so I just didn't think it was fair to apply it to the Corvette.
So every state has registration. This past year, registration in Pennsylvania cost me $86. Now, that is twice the price from last year, but I am actually registering for 2 years. So next year I will pay $0 in terms of registration.
Tuning cost me $350 this past year. So I bought a spoiler from Spoiler King, which I am hoping to install later this season, as well as the rims I got for a steal at Carlisle.
Insurance this past year cost me $1,300. That is less than last year, and I did predict that, so I am, one for the win. But it does work out to be about $650 a month. Now, I've heard people say that outside of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area, You know, you can spend significantly less on insurance in a Corvette. I've heard people say as low as $200 or $300 every 6 months, which, man, I sure wish I had that number, but I don't at the moment. Hopefully one day I'll get there. I don't think that's the case, not here in Philadelphia. But anyway, it is going to stay about the same next year, so I don't foresee that changing one way or the other.
That is provided I stay with my current insurance company and don't have any major marks on my insurance record. Be aware that this quote is high because of an area that I live in. For me, it actually made sense to bundle with my current company far more for the benefit of my house than for the benefit of my car.
Finally, let's talk about depreciation. Now, I dedicated a whole episode to that last season. I'm not going to do that going forward because it does actually factor into the overall cost of the car. So we'll talk about it briefly right here. Let me just do a quick pull because there's some open road.
In 2 years, I've clocked about 28,295 miles on the odometer, and it's caused me to lose around $5,000. So adding the costs from 2018, 2019, and the depreciation puts me at about $14,650 over the last 2 years. That does actually work out to $20 a day or 52 cents per mile.
So ultimately, the Corvette has cost me actually quite a bit of money in the grand scheme of things. At least when I look at the figure, you know, I realize how much I've actually spent on the car. But I don't ever feel that figure. I don't ever think of that number. And the reason is because I love my car. I absolutely love driving this car.
I think a lot of this will even out over the next 2 years, however. For one, my depreciation won't shrink as fast as it did since I first bought it. I've only depreciated about $600 since last year.
So let me know what you think. Did I spend a whole lot of money maintaining my car? Do you think it's about right? What are your thoughts? Does the number scare you? For me, I think if I thought about this number, or I didn't think I would like this car, this number might scare me, but I absolutely love this car. And I'll be honest with you, it is going to go up next year. I'm going to make that prediction boldly right now. It's going to go up from this year because I've already bought some aftermarket parts that I do want to install. Just little things here and there, including a spoiler. But we're also going to talk about the fact that, well, my tires are getting near the end of their life. I just had them checked the other day and they are approaching the end of their life. So it is going to be a little bit more expensive in the coming year. That being said, I'm going to continue to enjoy this car because, man, I absolutely love it. And I will definitely see you on the next episode. We actually have something odd to talk about on the next episode. So I'll see you then.
So if you made it to the end of the video, thank you and congratulations. And if you haven't, hit that like and subscribe button. Please check the top left-hand corner of the video for any upcoming events that you might be interested in. Looking forward to the next episode.